I'm so greasy and disheveled. Two things starting today off. One, if today's show ends up being a little shorter than I would normally like, it's because this morning I had to go in for an emergency dental visit. Yay, fun! Needles and scraping and ring, right at the crack of dawn. My bottom front teeth are partial crowns, and I guess I lost a fight with a lamb chop last night. They came out, and I'll say this. If you're one of the people that wants to see what I look like without those teeth, I wasn't on board, but then I was like, let's turn it into a fun challenge. If you get this video to 135,000 likes, I'll show you tomorrow. Maybe I'll even show you how the kids reacted. And two, I gotta start off today's show by saying, YouTube, please don't do this. And as far as the specific this I'm talking about YouTube this morning tweeting in response to creator feedback around well-being and targeted dislike campaigns. We're testing a few new designs that don't show the public dislike count. If you're part of this small experiment, you might spot one of these designs in the coming weeks. And then adding creators, you'll still be able to see the exact number of likes and dislikes in YouTube Studio. And adding for viewers, if you're in the experiment, you can still like or dislike a video to share feedback with creators and help tune the recommendations you see on YouTube. But I, with this video and several other creators on Twitter, are saying, I don't think this is a great idea. Big creators like Drew Gooden tweeting, the problem with websites that don't have dislike buttons is it's harder for people to get an idea of what's good and what's bad. Like if Twitter had a dislike button, you guys could see how much everybody hates this. Though the ratio of comments and quote tweets to likes shows that to a certain degree. But I agree, you also have creators like Jacksepticeye tweeting, what about content that is objectively bad and harmful to people, like scams, etc. And I mean, if I can add my voice to this, how about this, YouTube? If we all promise, as a community, pinky promise, blood oath. No, pinky promise that we won't hit the dislike button on this year's YouTube Rewind. Will you reconsider? I just think it is a genuinely horrible idea. Having likes and dislikes on YouTube videos, I think is part of the way that the YouTube community in general polices itself. And here's the thing, it's not like you're kicking down a door. YouTube's one of the last places to maintain a dislike button, but I think that is a great differentiator. And understand, I say this as a creator that gets, I think, at least 2,000 dislikes on every video I put out. It's a way for the community and the public in general to let people know, let the creator know where they stand. But hey, that's the story, my personal opinion and takeaway on it, and whether you agree or you disagree. That's the fun of this show. That's supposed to be, I think, part of the fun of YouTube and likes and comments and everything. Let me know what you're thinking about this in those comments down below. Then, one of the most requested stories today, but I won't be doing the larger piece that I want to just because I don't have the time today. Blame the teeth. Yeah, we had YouTube in the news for a different reason. And this, because it was reported last week, the massive creator that is James Charles will not be hosting the second season of Instant Influencer, which for many was very shocking, but also not. It was shocking to many because it had been previously announced that he would be hosting the second season. It also was a massive success, but at the same time, it wasn't surprising to many people because James Charles has also been recently accused of inappropriately messaging his young fans, with some actually going on to claim that he has groomed fans. Now, that said, he did specifically deny those grooming allegations, but also a new accusation that he flirted with a teen fan came up today, with it being reported on by places like Dexerto. Also, with this, we saw insider reporter Kat Tenbarge tweeting today, the alleged James Charles interactions with minors shows a pattern of JC getting aggressive plus claiming that the minor lied about their age once screenshots leak. It's an increasingly worrisome use of his power dynamic. He shouldn't be privately messaging young fans at all. As well as other creators like Ethan Klein who tweeted, James Charles is a predator, just trying to get his name trending, y'all, let's go. Which, I mean, as of recording this video, James Charles was number 6 trending in the United States. And while I will say this is a quickie update regarding the entertainment side of the story, we're looking into this a little further as well. Though, currently our team's just starting to look into it, so we're not gonna be talking about that today. But to take it back to the entertainment aspect of this news for the time being, I mean, we also don't know if this is the official reason that he won't be returning as the host. And this is because you have places like Variety saying that this season has a focus on creators outside of beauty and makeup. But still, if this was the reason for him to not be the host or the creative pivot to something non-beauty, it wouldn't be surprising. I don't think you could bash YouTube for making that decision. Right? Because for YouTube, whether there's a fire here or not, there's sure as fuck a lot of smoke. I don't think a lot of people would blame YouTube for getting low and trying to make their way to the exit. But like I said, for the bigger, broader story, the team's looking into it. We've also reached out to James for comment, and we'll be coming back to this. But from that, let's take a second to pay some bills and thank the fantastic sponsor of today's show, ButcherBox. ButcherBox is an awesome customizable delivery service for those that really enjoy high-quality meats at the utmost convenience. 100% grass-fed beef, free-range organic chicken, wild-caught seafood, and pork raised crate-free, all for less than $6 per meal. Personally, we've really enjoyed cooking at home more lately. It's become this fun thing to either do together or do for each other. My go-to is the custom box in the classic size, but I definitely make sure to add the burgers, wild Alaskan salmon, and some chicken tenders for the boys. For those of you with specific lifestyle needs, ButcherBox makes it super easy to do keto, paleo, whatever you need. You can meal prep several protein-packed meals from just one box. And the best part is that ButcherBox ships directly to your home. The items are frozen at the peak of freshness and packed in an eco-friendly 100% recyclable box. And you can cancel anytime, no penalty. And for a short time only, new members will get 2 pounds of ground beef in every order for the lifetime of their membership. Yes, that's right, 2 pounds of ground beef free for the lifetime of your membership. Plus, shipping is always free. So order today at butcherbox.com/DeFranco to get your box in time for the weekend. Then let's talk about this story that maybe will explain to you why that conservative relative that you have just posted on Facebook.
This is just like the Holocaust.
Is it, Greg? Is it just like the Holocaust? Right, so this story is about vaccine news. It's why maybe you saw HIPAA trending on Twitter yesterday. And let's break down the story and then the misinformation that comes along with it. Right, so for some context here, HIPAA, or the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, is a federal statute that prohibits doctors, hospitals, health insurers, and other medical institutions from sharing personal medical information with third parties. And so we saw the topic trending yesterday as people discussed it amid reports that the Biden administration was working with the private sector to develop a, quote, vaccine passport. Right? And that would pretty much be exactly what it sounds like, a standardized credential that would let people carry proof that they have been vaccinated, which would allow them to travel or access services that have otherwise been shut down or limited. And this is nowhere near a new idea. There are certain parts of the world that require international travelers to provide proof that they've been vaccinated against certain diseases and viruses. And in fact, already a number of similar ideas have been rolled out during the pandemic. Just this month, for example, you had the EU announcing plans for what they called a digital green certificate, which would create a digital system like a smartphone app to prove vaccination, negative tests, and recovery from the virus. IBM is also working with New York State to implement a similar program using blockchain, and Walmart has backed the idea of certificates as well. But after it got reported that the Biden administration was getting involved, we saw a ton of people, and yes, mostly conservatives, taking to Twitter to slam this idea, saying that it violated personal freedoms. With people like Chris Bish, a former Republican congressional candidate, tweeting, HIPAA and vaccine passports don't really seem to be able to coexist. Am I the only one who still remembers HIPAA? That claim and argument was then echoed and retweeted by many others, but then also, as many others pointed out, that's just straight up not how HIPAA works. I mean, even the top comment on the post had a user writing, wait until y'all find out that HIPAA has always had clauses for public health emergencies. Wait until you find out people have been having to show their kids vaccine cards for 30 years to register them for school. Wait until you find out about employment-based health screenings. You know, even beyond that, HIPAA only applies to doctors and medical institutions. And as has been pointed out by people who are not comparing this to the Holocaust, this, including the Washington Post, which noted that the Biden administration's plan would just give people their own immunization records, either digitally, like through an app, or on paper, which they could then have to share if they were asked to gain access or to travel or use something where they're being very careful. And as places like the Post have noted here, under that scenario, HIPAA wouldn't be relevant because it has to do with people sharing their own medical information. And it's also important to note that yesterday, Andy Slavitt, a senior advisor to the White House coronavirus team, said that the federal government is not, quote, viewing its role as the place to create a passport nor a place to hold the data of citizens, but rather provide guidance to the private sector. But I do want to note here, while it is fun to dunk on the people sharing misinformation, just the ultra crazy BS, this does not negate every other legitimate concern about vaccine passports. You have many experts who worry about possible privacy issues that would come from third parties accessing this information. And I mean, just in general, there are a ton of logistical challenges to even make this happen in the first place. Because in order for these passports to even be widely usable, there would need to be standards for the information that is kept. Users would need to be convinced to use the same app or the same set of apps. And then what about people without smartphones? I miss seeing people in person. I do not miss being grandma's tech support. Also, we're already seeing politicians grandstand on this issue, right? People like Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who vowed yesterday that he would sign an executive order to explicitly ban vaccine passports in the state. But at the same time, it does appear that at least on a smaller level, we will see some rollouts here. And I mean, I don't know how to close this story. I'm just frustrated, man. There's just like such a concerted effort to make recovery hard. COVID-19 as is has killed more than 500,000 Americans, but thank God this thing didn't have a worse kill rate. Like, that's my main takeaway from the last year. We are screwed if something even slightly worse comes through. I mean, we're talking about stories that involve like, hey, can we get people on board to be like, hey, look, I'm vaccinated. But I mean, this is coming out at the same time we're seeing headlines like, cause wow, people suck, Florida man fired after fake vaccine card business exposed on TikTok. Like, no matter the reality of that situation, fuck you, guy. One, if this is something you were actually doing, if you were dying in a fire, I wouldn't even piss on you. And two, even if you're joking, creating vaccine skepticism, creating an environment where people that think that the cards have some value and you put fear into that, fuck you. I hate that we're even sharing the same oxygen, you scumbag. And then let's talk about these two violent attacks in New York City on Asian Americans that have gone viral in two separate videos. One of the videos was reportedly caught by a surveillance camera outside a luxury condo building in the Hell's Kitchen neighborhood of Manhattan. And in this video, we have an unidentified person who police have since said was a 65-year-old Asian woman who can be seen walking down the street and stopping abruptly. And then a man kicks her in the stomach, knocking her to the ground, where he proceeds to repeatedly stomp her on the head while, according to police, shouting slurs. And really notably here, the video also seems to show at least 3 people in the condo's lobby just watching this happen without doing anything. Although, to be fair, when the attacker left, one man who police said was a security guard literally closed the door on the woman, who remains laying down on the sidewalk after being beaten. So I guess technically he did do something. Just, I guess technically not a helpful thing. But as far as the victim, according to police, she sustained a serious physical injury. She's currently in the hospital in stable condition. And we also learned in a statement today, the management company for the condo said that the staff members who witnessed the attack, quote, have been suspended pending an investigation in conjunction with their union. And then, as far as the second viral incident the police are investigating, is a video that was originally uploaded on TikTok. The video shows a subway passenger shoving an Asian man who tries to fight him off. The first passenger then punches him in the face repeatedly, puts him in a chokehold until he passes out on the floor and then exits the train. Throughout the video, other passengers can be heard yelling at him to stop, and after he leaves, they appear to surround the unconscious man. And unfortunately, as of right now, that's pretty much all we know about the attack and the victim. Though the NYPD Hate Crimes Unit has tweeted out the video as well as surveillance photos of the man from the first attack and asked anyone with information to come forward. Right, and unfortunately, these attacks are part of an absolutely atrocious rising trend, both in New York and all over the country, of hate crimes increasingly being committed against Asian Americans. Right, I mean, according to reports, in just recent weeks, Asian Americans in New York have reported being punched in subway cars, spit on, and pummeled with metal pipes. I mean, just 3 months into the year, and you have the NYPD saying there have already been 33 documented hate crimes with an Asian victim in 2021. And when I say it's the continuation of a rising trend, I mean, according to the Center for the Study of Hate and Extremism at Cal State San Bernardino, in major American cities, anti-Asian hate crimes surged by 149% in 2020, which is why we've seen more and more people speaking up, including yesterday we saw BTS doing the same, saying, "We recall moments when we faced discrimination as Asians. We have endured expletives without reason and were mocked for the way we look. We were even asked why Asians spoke in English." And while adding our own experiences are inconsequential compared to the events that have occurred over the past few weeks, these experiences were enough to make us feel powerless and chip away at our self-esteem. What is happening right now cannot be dissociated from our identity as Asians. But, ultimately we're in this story where we're gonna have to wait and see what happens next. And I mean that both as far as this larger trend that we're seeing, as well as these two horrible incidents that we just saw in these videos in New York. I'll have links, videos, resources down below if you want to go through those videos, see if you recognize something, because what we need in this situation, obviously, yes, more understanding, more love, but for the fucking horrible monsters behind these attacks, accountability and punishment. And ultimately, with this story and actually anything else that stood out to you, I'd love to know your thoughts in those comments down below, because this is the end of the video. As always, thank you for subscribing to the channel, liking the videos, all the good stuff. If you're looking for more to watch, I got you covered with a brand new vlog / behind the scenes, or maybe some more news right there or in the top of the description. But with that said, of course, as always, my name's Philip DeFranco. You've just been filled in. I love yo faces, and I'll see you tomorrow.